When entering a street from a driveway, you a. must drive slowly to allow approaching vehicles and pedestrians time to get out of your way. b. must honk your horn so approaching vehicles and pedestrians know to give you room. c. must stop and proceed only when there are no pedestrians or vehicles approaching. d. can disregard any pedestrians if there is no sidewalk. c. must stop and proceed only when there are no pedestrians or vehicles approaching. Always stop before entering the roadway from a driveway and yield to any approaching vehicles or crossing pedestrians. The stop should be made before crossing the sidewalk area. Failure to stop is unlawful. When driving in normal traffic conditions, you should signal to turn. Fill in the blank. Before beginning the turn. A. 20 feet. B. 50 feet. C. 100 feet. D. 300 feet. C. 100 feet. When you wish to change lanes or make a turn, signal to inform other motorists of your intentions. Signals should be activated at least 100 feet before you make the turn when you are driving in normal conditions. Continue signaling until you have completed the turn or lane change. You are driving on a divided multi-lane highway and see or hear the signal of an approaching emergency vehicle. You should a. disregard the signal if there are other lanes available for the emergency vehicle. b. stop as quickly as you can. c. slow down, move your vehicle to provide a clear path for the emergency vehicle, and stop. d. increase your speed to get out of the way of the emergency vehicle. c. slow down, move your vehicle to provide a clear path for the emergency vehicle, and stop. If you hear the siren or see the flashing lights of an emergency vehicle, you must slow down, provide a clear path for the vehicle, and stop. Don't try to outdrive the emergency vehicle. Another driver is trying to pass your car. You should a. pull off the road. b. signal to the other driver when it is safe for them to pass. c. check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to allow safe passing. d. speed up. c. check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to allow safe passing. Keep right when another driver begins to pass you on the left. Check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to let the passing vehicle move back into the right lane as easily as possible.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
You are driving in the left lane and want to move into the right lane. You should a. check your mirrors, signal, and look over your left shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. b. check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. c. check your mirrors, signal, and look over both shoulders for other vehicles before changing lanes. d. check your mirrors, signal, and change lanes. b. check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. When changing lanes, you should check your vehicle's blind spots by looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. Always check your mirrors and turn on your directional signal before beginning a lane change. To check your blind spot when changing lanes to the left, you should glance a. over your right shoulder. b. at your side mirror. c. over your left shoulder. d. at your rearview mirror. This sign means a. no U-turn. b. no left turn. c. No right turn. D. No turning. C. No right turn. This sign indicates that right turns are prohibited. Do not make a right turn at an intersection where this sign is posted. This sign means A. There is a detour ahead. B. You must stop for flaggers. C. The road ahead is closed to traffic. D. The highway ahead is undergoing maintenance. D. The highway ahead is undergoing maintenance. Construction and maintenance signs are orange-colored and are used to notify drivers of unusual or potentially dangerous conditions in or near work areas. This sign warns drivers that they are approaching a construction zone and that they should prepare to lower their speed and drive with extraordinary caution. Signs indicating areas of public recreation are A. Orange. B. Red. C. Green. D. Brown. D. Brown. Signs that are brown indicate areas of cultural and historical significance or of public recreation. They can be a helpful resource when traveling in unfamiliar locations. Pentagonal signs indicate A. No passing zones. B. School zones. C. Speed limits. D. Railroad crossings. B. School zones. Pentagonal signs indicate that you are in a school zone. Be extra alert to children and pedestrians when driving near a school. Your tire blows out while you are driving. You should A. Slam on your brakes. B. Hold your steering wheel tightly and slow to a stop. C. Keep driving normally. D. Turn on your emergency flashers and continue driving. B. Hold your steering wheel tightly and slow to a stop. If you experience a tire blowout, do not immediately apply the brakes. Grip the steering wheel firmly and steer to remain in your traffic lane. Reduce your speed gradually by releasing the accelerator and staying off the brakes. Once you are moving very slowly, apply the brakes lightly and pull off the road into a safe area. When passing a parked vehicle, you should A. Be prepared for a person or vehicle to unexpectedly enter your lane. B. Expect all other drivers and pedestrians to respect your right-of-way. C. Honk to alert drivers and pedestrians to your presence. D. Increase your speed to avoid any pedestrians. A. Be prepared for a person or vehicle to unexpectedly enter your lane. Keep a space between your vehicle and parked vehicles. Someone may step out of their parked car or from between the parked vehicles, or a vehicle may start to pull out suddenly. You cannot pass safely on a two-way, two-lane street unless A. You are able to clearly see the road ahead. B. You can return to your lane before meeting oncoming traffic. C. Your vehicle is capable of the speed necessary to pass. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You cannot pass safely when driving on a two-way, two-lane street unless you can clearly see the road ahead, you can return to your lane before meeting oncoming traffic, and your vehicle is capable of the speed necessary to pass. Do not pass where it is illegal and unsafe to do so. Which of the following best ensures your safety and the safety of those around you when you are backing your vehicle? A. Honk your horn right before shifting into reverse. B. Check behind the vehicle before you get into the driver's seat. C. Check your rearview mirrors to see what is behind you. D. Turn up the car radio before backing up to get the attention of anyone who may be around you. B. Check behind the vehicle before you get into the driver's seat. Backing requires extra caution because it is difficult for drivers to see behind their vehicles. Before entering a vehicle to back up, walk to the back of the vehicle to check for children and small objects. If an emergency vehicle with flashing lights is traveling in the area where you are driving, you should A. Speed up to avoid the emergency vehicle. B. Stop your vehicle immediately and prevent them from passing. C. Make every effort to give the emergency vehicle a clear path of travel. D. Signal to the emergency vehicle when it is clear for them to pass you. C. Make every effort to give the emergency vehicle a clear path of travel. If an emergency vehicle with flashing lights is traveling in the area where you are driving, you must make every effort to give them a clear path of travel. If it is safe to do so, pull your vehicle to the side of the road to give the emergency vehicle an open pathway. This road sign indicates A. The maximum safe speed for a residential area. B. The maximum safe speed for an expressway exit. C. The maximum safe speed for an expressway entrance. D. The maximum safe speed for a work zone. B. The maximum safe speed for an expressway exit. This advisory speed sign indicates the maximum safe speed for a highway exit, in this example, 30 miles per hour. Emergency vehicles. A. Have the right of way when using sirens, horns, and/or flashing lights. B. May use a loudspeaker to give instructions. C. May follow each other. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must yield the right of way to police cars, fire engines, ambulances, or any other emergency vehicles using a siren or air horn and a red or blue flashing light. Follow any instructions given over the emergency vehicle's loudspeakers. Emergency vehicles often follow each other, so you should proceed only when you are certain the way is clear. Drivers may not pass from either side of a fill in the blank centerline. A. Combination solid and broken yellow. B. Single broken yellow. C. Double solid yellow. D. Single broken white. C. Double solid yellow. A double solid yellow line down the center of a two-way road means that it is prohibited for traffic from either direction to cross the center to pass. When passing other vehicles. A. Check your mirrors and blind spots. B. Honk your horn at least 3 times. C. Re-enter your lane within 10 feet of the passed vehicle. D. There is no need to signal. A. Check your mirrors and blind spots. Before passing another vehicle, check your mirrors and blind spots. Before changing lanes, activate the appropriate turn signal. Re-enter the lane when you can see the front of the passed vehicle in your rearview mirror. When meeting a car with blinding headlights, you should A. Use your bright lights until the other vehicle dims theirs. B. Flash your lights on and off to warn the other driver. C. Dim your lights and then speed up to pass quickly. D. Look toward the right side of the road. D. Look toward the right side of the road. If a vehicle comes toward you with its high beams on, look away from the headlights and toward the right side of the road until the car has passed. This will keep you from being blinded. Don't follow other cars too closely because A. You may not see the road between the cars. B. You may not have time to stop if the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly. C. You may not see the vehicle's turn signals. D. You may not see the other vehicle's brake lights. B. You may not have time to stop if the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly. If you follow too closely and the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly, you may not have enough time to avoid a collision. Road rage and aggressive driving may be reduced by A. Allowing extra travel time. B. Obeying posted speed limits. C. Using proper turn signals. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. As an increasing number of drivers populate the roadways, road rage becomes more prevalent. To help prevent road rage, a driver should use proper turn signals, obey posted speed limits, and allow plenty of travel time. When using a roundabout, drivers should A. Yield to traffic already in the roundabout. B. Yield to entering traffic. C. Drive in a clockwise direction. D. Stop in the middle of the roundabout. A. Yield to traffic already in the roundabout. A roundabout is a circular intersection that usually does not include a traffic signal and flows in a counterclockwise direction around a central island. Motorists must enter from the right, yielding to traffic already in the roundabout, and follow the circle to the right until the desired roadway is reached. This sign means A. Lane ends. B. No right turn. C. Slippery when wet. D. Two-way traffic. A. Lane ends. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow and black. This sign tells drivers that a lane is ending and that they should prepare to allow traffic to merge safely. A diamond-shaped sign is a A. Road hazard sign. B. Interstate route sign. C. School crossing sign. D. Speed limit sign. A. Road hazard sign. Warning signs are normally diamond-shaped and yellow, although orange warning signs are used in work areas. Such signs warn that you are approaching a hazardous location or an area where special rules apply. When driving in traffic, it is safest to A. Fluctuate your speed to keep alert. B. Drive faster than the flow of traffic. C. Drive slower than the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. Crashes often happen when some drivers go faster or slower than other vehicles on the road. Always try to drive with the flow of traffic, within the posted speed limit. You are coming to an intersection with a flashing yellow light. You should A. Stop and wait for the light to change. B. Make a U-turn because the intersection is closed. C. Drive carefully through the intersection. D. Prepare to stop, the light is about to turn red. C. Drive carefully through the intersection. A flashing yellow light means that you should proceed through the intersection slowly and with caution. Scan your eyes across traffic in both directions. To avoid collisions with vehicles in your blind spots, you should A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. B. Adjust your rearview mirrors every few minutes. C. Honk your horn right before turning or changing lanes. D. None of the above. A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. Before turning or changing lanes, turn your head and glance over your shoulder in the direction of your move to see if your blind spot is clear. Never rely on your mirrors alone. When faced with an oncoming car to the left and a bicyclist to the right, you should A. Pull onto the shoulder. B. Split the difference. C. Let the car pass and then pass the bike. D. Pass the bike quickly. C. Let the car pass and then pass the bike. When there is more than one potential hazard on the road, you should ensure that you only have to deal with one of them at a time. For example, when there is a bicyclist on the right that you want to pass and an oncoming car to the left, you should not try to squeeze between both at the same time. Instead, let the oncoming car pass, and then pass the bicyclist. This sign means A. Watch for drunk drivers. B. Curves ahead. C. Slippery when wet. D. Apply your brakes quickly. C. Slippery when wet. This sign warns that the road is slippery when wet. This is a fill in the blank sign. A. Stop. B. Wrong way. C. Yield. D. Do not enter. C. Yield. This triangular sign is a yield sign. When you see this sign, you must slow down to check for traffic and yield the right of way to pedestrians and approaching cross traffic. Stop only if it is necessary to do so. Drinking coffee after drinking alcohol. A. Decreases blood alcohol concentration. B. Cancels the effect of the alcohol. C. Has no effect on blood alcohol concentration. D. Increases blood alcohol concentration. This sign means A. A divided highway ends. B. A one-way street begins. C. A one-way street ends. D. A divided highway begins. D. A divided highway begins. This sign indicates that the road ahead becomes a divided highway. Keep to the right of the divider or median. To enter a freeway. A. Signal, yield to existing traffic, and enter at the same speed that traffic is moving. B. Signal and enter the freeway. Freeway traffic must yield. C. Drive slowly so you can check traffic. D. Always come to a complete stop first. A. Signal, yield to existing traffic, and enter at the same speed that traffic is moving. When merging into traffic, you should signal and enter at the same speed that traffic is moving. Always yield to other traffic when entering a roadway. At night, it is hardest to see. A. Road signs. B. Pedestrians. C. Other motorists. D. Street lights. B. Pedestrians. Compared to signs and other roadside objects, pedestrians are hardest to see at night. Drivers must yield to a pedestrian. A. Even if the pedestrian crosses the street carelessly. B. Only when the pedestrian is in a crosswalk. C. Only if the pedestrian is on the same side of the road as the driver. D. If the pedestrian uses a hand signal to ask oncoming drivers to stop. A. Even if the pedestrian crosses the street carelessly. Drivers must always yield to pedestrians in the street, even if they are crossing against a red light or are otherwise being careless. This road sign means: A. Parking spaces are reserved for people with disabled parking permits. B. A circular intersection is ahead. C. Traffic in the lane must turn in the direction of the arrow. D. Lanes are reserved for buses and vehicles with a driver and one or more passengers. A. Parking spaces are reserved for people with disabled parking permits. This sign marks parking spaces that are reserved for people with disabled parking permits. If you begin to feel tired while driving, the best thing to do is to: A. Get some coffee. B. Open your window. C. Stop driving. D. Turn on the radio. C. Stop driving. Being fatigued while driving is similar in danger to driving under the influence of alcohol. If you begin to feel tired while driving, the best thing to do is to stop driving. When traveling on a multi-lane roadway with traffic moving in opposite directions, how should drivers use the shared center lane? A. To pass other vehicles. B. To slow down or stop before turning left. C. As a through traffic lane when traffic is moving too slowly. D. As a parking lane. If another car is in danger of hitting you, you should: A. Sound your horn. B. Wave your arms. C. Use your emergency lights. D. Flash your headlights. Braking distance is affected by: A. The speed your vehicle is traveling. B. The condition of your brakes and tires. C. The condition of the pavement. D. All of the above. Which of the following are used on some highways to direct drivers into the proper lanes for turning? A. Flashing red lights. B. Flashing yellow lights. C. White lines on the side of the road. D. White arrows in the middle of the lanes. D. White arrows in the middle of the lanes. Arrows may be used to indicate which lanes should be used for specific purposes, such as driving straight or making a turn. Which of the following does not happen after drinking? A. Your reflexes and reaction time slow down. B. Your judgment of speed and distance is distorted. C. You are less alert. D. You calm down and can concentrate better. D. You calm down and can concentrate better. Alcohol reduces your reaction time, reduces your ability to see clearly, changes your judgment of speed and distances, reduces your ability to recover from the glare of headlights, and often reduces your inhibitions and makes you more likely to take risks. If you need to drive in foggy weather: A. Turn on your low-beam headlights. B. Turn on your hazard lights. C. It is okay to drive at the maximum speed limit. D. Do not drive at a speed above 10 miles per hour. A. Turn on your low-beam headlights. You are required to use your headlights during the day when visibility is reduced to 500 feet or less. When you first turn on your headlights, be sure they are adjusted to the low beam setting. Using high beams in fog or rain will cause the light to reflect back into your eyes, lowering visibility even more. This sign means: A. Traffic signal. B. Fire station. C. T intersection. D. Left turn signal. A. Traffic signal. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming traffic signal. They should be prepared to respond to a yellow light, red light, and/or cross traffic. The consumption of alcohol while taking drugs can A. Decrease the effects of the drugs and alcohol. B. Increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. C. Help cure your illness. D. Improve your driving ability. B. Increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. The combination of alcohol and drugs, in some cases, can increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. It can be unsafe to drive after consuming either alcohol or drugs and is even more dangerous after combining them. A diamond-shaped sign. A. Warns of existing or possible hazards. B. Alerts drivers to school zones. C. Alerts drivers to public recreation areas. D. Alerts drivers to upcoming food and gas locations. A. Warns of existing or possible hazards. Diamond-shaped signs warn drivers of existing or potential driving hazards. You will usually see these signs in yellow or orange. The correct way to use a freeway exit ramp is to A. Slow down before entering the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. C. Keep your speed constant once in the exit ramp. D. Pass slower traffic in the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. When using a freeway exit ramp, do not slow down until you move onto the exit ramp. When may you pass on the shoulder of the road? A. When the car in front of you is turning. B. When the car in front of you is driving too slowly. C. When you don't see any pedestrians. D. Never. D. Never. If you pass on the right, do so only when conditions permit you to do so safely. Under no circumstances are you allowed to drive off the pavement or onto the shoulder. Many crashes are caused by A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. B. Drivers consistently checking their mirrors and blind spots. C. Drivers yielding the right of way. D. Drivers maintaining a 4-second following distance. A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. Many crashes are caused by drivers who are driving too fast for conditions. Always drive within the legal speed limits and decrease your speed anytime conditions are less than perfect.